Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay on this Victory Monday, November the 24th. We got Thanksgiving right around the corner. We got a big Packers dub, creating a little bit of momentum going into this Detroit Lions matchup, who scraped by the New York Giants yesterday. So what we're going to do today is this going to be a Victory Monday, man. We're going to relive all of the great moments from that Packers victory as they defeat the Minnesota Vikings 23-6 there at Lambeau Field. Just what a fun game to watch, and we got a lot to dive into, Tim. We're gonna kind of relive the locker room atmosphere, Matt LaFleur with his team afterwards, the game balls, all that stuff. We're gonna dive into the pass rush as the Packers record 5 sacks. We'll hear the broadcast calls from all 5 of those. Micah Parsons, will do a little deep dive on him and what's going on with his career statistics. Really cool stuff there. We'll also talk the Rashawn Gary, Kingsley Enagbare snap count situation. There were several hit pieces wrote on Gary last week as if Enagbare was passing him up on the depth chart. Of course, you guys know we talked about it pretty extensively, breaking down the tape. We found that it was more of a schematic thing than Enagbare passing Gary up on the depth chart. We'll talk snap count. We'll also talk a little Evan Williams, which I'm really excited about, man. Evan Williams had another phenomenal game, in my opinion. Then we'll jump over to offense. Emmanuel Wilson having a career day. Man, it couldn't happen to a more humble person. We'll hear from him. And a little Jordan Love talk, and then offensive line snap count. Anthony Belton seems to maybe have emerged. And Tim, I'm excited to dive into that topic specifically at the end of the show, because if that does happen, that may free you up a little bit to allow Jordan Morgan to just kick over to the left side, be a backup, and be prepared to take over at left tackle starting next year if we don't bring Rasheed Walker back. So we got plenty to talk about. If you guys would do that YouTube stuff for us, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us part of your Victory Monday. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on the daily. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live. There'll probably be multiple streams today. I'm going to try to do multiple streams every day from here on out. Some kind of news breaks, we'll hop in here. So that's why you want to make sure you've got that icon clicked there as well. Tim, let me just get your opening statement here from this win last night before we jump into everything that is this Packers Victory Monday. How we feeling after this win, after you had a little bit of time to sleep on it, buddy?
I'm feeling great. Man, did we run the football or did we run the football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, love to see J Money slinging it down the field all day. I mean, that's entertaining. But I'll take a game like we had yesterday, man. Grind it out, do it on the ground, get the win, protect the football, championship caliber defense, smothering your opponent. I'll take the dub, man. I'm feeling great.
Yeah, and I know there's differing opinions on that. There's some people that would like to see us run the score up, would like to see us try to throw the ball more and this and that. But I've got to respectfully disagree with that crowd, because why would you put your quarterback who's playing with a separated shoulder, why would you put him in harm's way when you don't have to? I don't understand that mindset. And I want to address something real quick, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. I had someone comment on YouTube and said that they had to fast forward the show because they're tired of us talking about the negative fan base. Everything I do here on this show, particularly, I do it for a reason. When I'm logging on to social media and I see the negative portion of the fan base louder than the positive portion, and we've got other fan bases, not NFC North fan bases, other fan bases saying that we're fair weather fans and that all we do is just bitch and moan, and comparing us to the Lions fan base because we have people booing our offense, booing our team when you come out with a 3-score win. Like, I'm sorry, man. I can't. I've got to address it. I've got to say something. If someone else wants to be the fan that just pretends like that don't exist, cool. By all means, do it. But I want to make sure that our portion of the fan base is louder than those bunch of idiots that don't even understand what they're watching and don't truly care about the overall success of the team. They just want to be right in one of their negative takes earlier in the season. So I'm going to leave it at that. Whoever that was, if you don't want to sub to the channel, I completely understand, man. There's a lot of Packers content out there I don't sub to as a fan, right? But we're going to point out when people say stupid stuff because it makes us look stupid, you know? And we're not talking about 2 or 3 fans. I'm talking about you can go all over social media and see them calling for LaFleur's job, which and this is what I love about our crowd. This is who we attract to us, right? You attract to you who you are, right? You're the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with, and you attract to you who you are, the law of attraction, right? These are the type of people we want watching our show, following us, because that's the type of content we're going to create is what actually happened on the field. Why did it happen? And when one little thing goes wrong, we're not being calling for everybody's job. But Nick McSwain in the chat said, I'm so tired of the fire LaFleur crowd. Again, the other guy on YouTube in the comments asking me not to talk about this stuff, and he's not going to watch the show. I've got a much larger portion of our fan base, of our viewers, that feel like Nick here. He said, I'm tired of the fire LaFleur crowd. I feel like we could run every play but still win the Super Bowl, and people would say to fire him because he's too conservative. And again, it's because they've doubled down on those takes, right? Nick McSwain said they don't care if we win, if we don't win the right way in their eyes. That's very well said, very well said. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I just want to make sure, again, that everybody knows where I stand on that topic, because I'm not going to just sit back and let people embarrass the fan base. And it's funny too, because the last thing I'll say is there's some content creators, they feed it constantly, right? And then they'll go on social media and make some kind of grandstanding post of, I know I'm going to get destroyed for saying this, but blah, blah, blah. Like they're having a preference. They're having to, oh no, let me give a warning out there before you guys rake me over the coals. Well, you've been feeding that, buddy. You've been the one that's been overly negative. You've been the one who's trying to gear up and focus on the negative aspect of the tape, as opposed to what is the team doing good and how can you build off that, right? So you made your damn bed, lay in it. It just drives me crazy when people try to straddle the fence. And now all of a sudden it's Victory Monday. They got the stamps on their streams and everything's good. Anyway, Jerry in the chat, the theme of the game, we got depth. Amen, Jerry.
Yes, great point.
Running back position, especially. I can't wait to talk about Emmanuel Wilson. I know you can't wait either, Tim. You got a chance to meet Emmanuel, and what a great dude. And it's cool. He was in our YouTube chat one night, and I was like, who? He said me. He said, well, I actually played here. And I'm like, who are we talking about? That was Emmanuel Wilson. And I went in, I'm like, damn, there's Emmanuel Wilson in here. So that was kind of cool, right? And I should probably invite him on the show since he watches the show, but I don't, I'm just weird like that. I don't want to bother those guys for sure. Professor Cakes, Victory Monday on my birthday, right? Hey, happy birthday, Professor Cakes.
Let's go. What a gift.
Yeah. It's a gift that keeps on giving, baby. Keeps on giving. Yeah. All right. Just trying to look at the chat here real quick, try to monitor everything, make sure I'm not missing anything. Nick McSwain again. I love this show because 90% of the Packers social media makes me feel like I'm taking crazy pills with their hot takes. Same here, man. Same here. That's why I like to do poll questions too, by the way, Nick. I'll throw a poll question out there. When I get to the point where it gets so loud enough to like, am I the only one that feels like this? And then the poll question will tell the entire story, right? And you'll find out, okay, that's just an extremely loud minority. Jen Wright, this show is the best part of my day. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Andy Watkins, this show, any sports broadcast / analysis. Thank you. We try to make it fun, but we also try to be in depth. That's the goal. We screw a lot of things up. I screw a lot of things up, and these guys have to straighten it out for me. But I'm glad we've all kind of gravitated toward each other and talking Packers, man. This is the highlight of my day as well. So let's get into it, Tim. Let's talk about it. Victory Monday. Bang. This right here, probably my favorite part of the day.
The ultimate troll job right here.
Yeah. And we may play it once or twice here, okay, gang? You know why. But I just say, good morning, Packer fans. It's Victory Monday. They said that Evan Williams went down there after the interception. He runs down, and he said he did one skull chant, and then by the time he went to hit the second clap, everybody was already doing it, right?
Did you hear how it started, though? So at his locker room interview, he was asked about it, and apparently this was all Javon Bullard's idea. He kind of planted the idea in his head earlier in the week and mentioned it, and it just kind of happened spur of the moment. He said he ran down there and saw Bullard, and they decided to just do it. So shout out to the Packers defense for
I'd love to see it.
trolling these numbskull Vikings fans. I love it.
Yeah, and we have the locker room interview. I think it was by Dominic Yates, I believe. We'll hit that when we talk Evan Williams. I haven't listened to it yet. I wanted to listen to it for the first time with you guys.
Spoiler alert! I just messed it up. My bad.
And it may not be the same one. I'm assuming it is, but I'm excited to hear it for sure, man. Let's see here. Paging Dr. Crutch with the super chat. Thank you so much, Dr. Crutch. Evan Williams, he may be cheap whiskey to some, but he's something special to us. He's such a gem. Yeah, it's what a great comment.
Evan Williams, not good whiskey at all. Damn good football player, though. We'll take it.
Exactly. I almost feel like we need to switch this up now since we're sitting here talking Evan Williams. I almost feel like we need to just jump right into that, to be honest with you. Let's see if I can find the Evan Williams clips here. This is very, very unorganized and unprofessional, but let's just do it. All right. Let me get these rolled over, and I've got the interview as well. Because Evan Williams, guys, he's playing damn good football. And the thing I like about Evan is he's never too high, he's never too low, right? He's just always right there in the middle, even kill. You can tell his teammates love him. He's just got the right attitude when it comes to playing football. Tim, I've got a couple screen grabs, one labeled offense and defense images down there. If you'll get those ready for me, let's play the soundbite from Evan Williams's interception here, and then we'll talk a little bit more. We'll also hear him at his locker. Do you see that defensive one there? I think it's a Micah Parsons one at the very bottom of the engine. Awesome. Perfect. All right, here we go. Here was the Fox audio from the NFL telecast of Evan Williams' interception here in his stellar sophomore season as a Green Bay Packer. Here we go.
McCarthy down the seam and too tall and picked off. Second interception for the Packers the last two drives. Evan Williams, second week in a row, he's got one.
That crowd, that's, of course, when they went down and did the skull chant. Man, so I didn't realize that's 2 weeks in a row he's had an interception. That just now hit me hearing that. That's what it sounded like, right? 2 weeks in a row that Evan Williams picked a pass off.
Yep, picked off Jameis in
right,
New York.
Yeah, in the end zone.
And then got this gem as well. So just so cool to see the kid playing great football, man. You know, you talk about sophomore season. He's one of those guys that if you just watch him on the field, he looks like he's been playing, 10 plus seasons in the NFL. Certainly had no problems adjusting to the pro level, and I think he fits in perfectly in this Hafley system. I really do.
Yeah, amen to that, man. Appreciate the super chat, Crutch. Thank you so much. Let's go to the locker room interview, and it was actually Kyle Malzahn was the clip I had. So shout out to Kyle Malzahn. Great follow on Twitter at Kyle Malzhan. Covers the Packers there locally. Packers safety Evan Williams mentioned how electric Lambeau Field was today and what prompted the skull chants. This is kind of what Tim was mentioning there briefly. So here we go. Here's the story. This is Evan Williams at his locker.
Yeah, whenever you get the opportunity to, play at home, you got to understand that, there's not many places like this. You don't get a family community type feel at Lambeau like anywhere else. And so, I feel like we definitely don't take that for granted whatsoever. Every time we come out here, again, I'm saying urgency a lot, but that's the truth. You got to have that, these are must-win games coming down the stretch that, you got to take advantage of that home field, especially in this last half of the season. So, shout out Lambeau, man. Shout out Green Bay and especially for backing up my little celebration. That was love right there.
Was that impromptu or
impromptu?
Yeah.
Bull brought it up a little bit ago. I think earlier in the week. I wasn't even taking it serious really, but when I was running down, I turned around and I saw a bull and kind of just made me think. I'm like, I think that would be a good time right now. Well, Coop was trying to get me to Lambeau leap.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. He's like, let's all jump. Let's all go. I'm like, nah, we can't do that. We can't do that. We're waiting for a touchdown to, get the privilege of doing that. But no, yeah, kind of a little bit impromptu, but got to shout out Bull for that one.
I love that they kind of protected that too, Tim. It needs to be a touchdown. Right, got to have a touchdown if we can do the Lambeau League. So I love
it. That's the players making that decision, right?
Right.
I think we found out last year that Matt has an arrangement with the guys, right? That you're allowed, you can do your celly or whatever, but it's either or. You can do a Lambeau leap or you can do an end zone celebration. And I like that the guys are like, nah, if we get a pick six, we'll jump in and do the Lambeau leap, but if not, we'll just troll the Vikings fans sitting down there at the back of the end zone. That was great.
Let's go to the chat, see what everybody's saying here. We got Brandon Johns in the chat, said, we have a special team, and I love our Packers players. Keep it as they love each other as family, because being family is the most important thing as being a team. Again, we always say that. I put a tweet out all the time that says, we're building the team, we're not collecting talent. And I didn't create that. I didn't come up with that cool little saying. That is a Bill Walsh, Michael Lombardi, Bill Belichick quote. We're building a team, not collecting talent. I want to say Michael Lombardi actually credited Bill Belichick with the quote. But again, what it means is, and it's almost inevitable every time there'll be a knucklehead fan with 32 followers, we're jumping there and go, well, no, we're collecting talent too. And I'm like, you missed the point.
Completely missing the point.
Yeah. The
Did you
point
see that?
is,
That's the point, going over your head.
Right. The whole point of that comment is it's not just about having the best players on your team. I mean, how many times have we seen situations where teams will try to put together these, I remember the dream team that Philly tried to create that one year. They had Vince Young and they had Mike Vick. And they had all these people they threw into this one big, right? And they fell flat on their face because you get all those different personalities in there. If they're not bought into a team concept, right? They're not built into, all right, what is most important for the team? Get a whole bunch of superstars in there. It's not just about talent. It's about building a team, and exactly what was just said, kind of a family type environment. When things get bad, I always think back to On a Football Life, a documentary about Vince Lombardi's Packers. It was Bill Curry, former Kentucky football head coach. At the time, he was a rookie offensive lineman, a rookie center for Vince Lombardi. And he said, I stepped into that huddle. He said, and I grew up in the South where, every stereotype known to man about how I was raised not by my parents, but around the people around me, that we were better than other people just because of the color of their skin. He said, now I'm stepping into a huddle with all these greats, Willie Davis and Willie Wood and Dave Robinson and all these great football players, right, that were, African-American. And he said, I stepped into that huddle and I'm thinking they're going to hear my Southern accent and they're going to send me home. That's what they're going to get out of here, boy, right? And he said it was during that first training camp, one of the first practices, he said, I'm walking out of St. Norbert College and I hear a voice from the shadows. And he said, Bill, he said, I thought it was God. I just sat down in the grass. And he said, it was Willie Davis. He said, this is a guy that broke every stereotype that I was taught growing up in the South, right? He said, I just sat down. I thought this is it. He's going to tell me to go home. And he said, I've been watching you out there practice. He said, and I think you got a chance to make it. He said, I want you to know that when – I'm trying to think of how he said it. I want you to know that when you're out there and you're sweating and you're bleeding everywhere and Nitschke is screaming and barking and slobbering and, staring at you across the line and you don't think you can play another play, he said, you look at me and I'll get you through it. That's what he said. Like, lean on me, right? Even though I play on the opposite side of the ball, like, if you need me, you come to me. That's what building a team is. And people want everything to be perfect. And it's kind of what we started the show off with. It's never perfect. It wasn't perfect in 2010. It wasn't perfect in 96 either. I mean, going into 96, you know how many people were talking about Brett Favre's drug addiction, right? And that's what's going to hold this team back. He's, because he's finally trying to get clean of his, his addiction and everything. It's never perfect, right? And sometimes when it's not perfect, Tim, you get this picture painted like the rest of the world is against you. And that's when you really kind of, huddle around each other and go, all right, it's us against the world. And that's why I always point out, like, when a season may not be going exactly how you wanted to, what did you expect? That's why I always ask. I love asking people, what did you expect? Did you expect?
They expected 17-0 and they expected, 56-0 every game. That's why they're disappointed, right?
Yeah. So again, it's about building a team, not collecting talent. And I think it's very well said. We'll just sit there. Michael with Super Chat. Thank you, Michael. He says, Evan and McKinney have amazing chemistry. You could see it. That's huge for us on the back end. I'll tell you what else is huge for too, Michael. And I don't want to say this any more than anybody wants to hear it, but there's going to come a day where we got to make a decision on Evan McKinney Xavier McKinney, right? And what I mean by that is 3 years down the road, 2 years down the road, we got to look up and go, okay, how much money is he worth? How much is he wanting? You guys know this is a business, right? Unfortunately, there's going to come a day where McKinney ain't going to be on the roster. And I just love the fact that McKinney is pouring into our boy Evan Williams constantly, right?
Yeah.
You can just see Evan Williams is going to be the leader of that secondary one day. And I hope McKinney gets multiple Super Bowls with the Packers, and I hope he don't retire till he's 38 and he's still playing great football at that age. But we know how few and far between those are. So when I see that and I think, man, Evan and McKinney together are great chemistry, and they really do. I also love the fact that Evan Williams is getting a front row seat on great training on how to be a pro, how to work the right way, how to read an offense and route concepts and everything in between, Tim. I think that's a great comment there, man.
Yeah, and then like we said, combine that with the fact that, you're in a Halfley system. You've got Coach Ansley, your passing game coordinator back there. Talk about an ideal situation for a guy to come into as a young player in this league. Having a, basically premier veteran leadership on the field next to you, and then spectacular coaching and scheme. I mean, he's poised for success, and I think you're right, Clay. I think down the road that's going to be the future of that back end of the secondary for sure. It's going to be Evan Williams sliding into that role. And right now they're the two-headed monster. We saw that yesterday, right? You didn't know who was going to be in the box. Was it going to be X? Was it going to be Williams? They can kind of both flip, and one guy can play post, one guy can, pick up the slack in other areas. This is a formula for success, man, on defense. And we're seeing it now. We're seeing what we talked about all throughout training camp and preseason process. We're really starting to see things click for this defense right now.
Yeah. And you want to be playing your best football going into the playoffs. That's the ultimate goal, right? You can be undefeated up to week, 15, and then all of a sudden get a rut. Other teams have got the beat on you. Now, do you change what's worked all year? Do you keep doing what you're doing? Like you get in that little funk, and next thing you know, you go into the playoffs with no momentum. That's another thing that's very, very real as well. So thank you for that super chat, Michael. Appreciate it, man. Jen Wright says here in the chat, hello.
Getting a glitch there, Clayton. Can you hear me?
If you can hear Tim, right now. Still here. No, I can't hear. So,
Clayton, I can hear you. Your video froze up on us.
You got me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh. Clayton is no longer with us, Dobbs. I don't know if you can see that comment. All right, I'm gonna. You can hear me, Tim. I'll be right back.
Okay.
What the hell's going on out here?
All right, guys, we're gonna try to keep this going. Glitching up if you guys can hear me. Shout out to Holmes in the chat. You think God never farted? Yeah, it does. It does happen sometimes. There's not much you can do with the technical difficulty.
You think God never farted?
All right.
There we go. There's Clayton.
All right. Yeah, we had this happen pre-show. I'm not sure what was going on, but we had some kind of glitch where everything went black. I love the comment, by the way. Somebody in the chat said with the Romeo Dobbs comment on Tucker Craft. It broke me up. So hopefully everything good now, though, Tim. We good and clear now?
Yeah, it sounds good now.
All right, good. So I don't even remember what we were talking about. I was going to go to Matt LaFleur comment. That's when it froze up here. Jen Wright said Matt LaFleur's comment on Haddon says something. It really does, man. And again, sometimes the bottom half of your roster is what wins you championships. We talk about 2010 all the time, man. I remember when Ryan Grant went down. I remember when Jermichael Finley went down and all those important players. And I was just like, oh, boy. It's how I felt a couple of weeks ago, to be honest with you. I remember I said it on the show. I was like, man, there comes a point where you go, okay, this is just too much to overcome. You're starting center, you're starting running back, your number one receiver, your number one tight end. I mean, at some point, you got to go, all right, this might not be the year. But 2010, It was very similar. So, yeah, they've got a lot of faith in Haddon for sure. Let's go to Matt LaFleur in the locker room. We should be okay to show this one, Tim. Packers tweeted this one out. But this was Matt LaFleur in the locker room immediately following that huge win over the Vikings 23-6. Let's see what Coach had to say. Let's see. We got the game balls, too. Here we go.
You talk about a total team effort. All three phases contributed in that win. Give it up for yourself. How about our defense, man? The entire defense getting a game ball. However, for this guy's ability, representing the defense, his ability to come in, control the green dot, had a pick today.
I just love you guys, man. I love coming in every day, and I give them my all for y'all, honestly. And let's keep stacking them up and be on your mission.
Not too many times in this league you get 42 rushing attempts in a game. Got to give it up for the offensive line today. And another guy that came in had 28 carries, 107 yards.
Appreciate it for the opportunity, man. Let's get right
Last but not least, defense. First of all, McManus coming in, making all his picks. Daniel Wheelan kicking it out of the ball. This guy, this was the player of the game. Give it up for Zane.
I appreciate you guys, man. This organization took a chance on me a few years ago, and I love you boys, man. I love to work with you guys, and let's just keep going on. Let's go, fellas. 1, 2, 3.
You know, since we just showed that clip, Tim, let's just jump into that play, man. We've got the audio from that specific pump play. If you'll get me just the Micah Parsons grab, that'd be good. I want you guys to hear the TV broadcast of this play here from our boy Zane Anderson. I mean, this is one of the most important plays. I mean, it was 10-6, Tim. It was 10-6 when this happened, right? And this was the Zane Anderson going down as a gunner, right? And basically recognizing the guy who was supposed to field the punt. He decides, okay, I'm not going to field it. So typically what they'll do is they'll run up and chip the gunners so that the ball can go into the end zone. Well, as soon as he steps up, Zane Anderson knows when the ball hits flat. By the way, hell of a ball by Daniel Wheelan to put the back on it.
The punt was a thing of beauty.
It almost stuck right in the turf. It was unbelievable, right? And that's by design too, guys. That's not luck. That's how they're taught to kick the ball. If you want it, what they put the back spin on, I guess you could say. It's more of a flat spin than anything. But what Zane Anderson realized, as soon as it hits and that guy pushes up, grab him and steer him towards the ball, right? That's why they always holler, Peter, get away, because the defenders will try to do that to you. It's just a high IQ football play by Zane Anderson. Here it was.
Against this Vikings defense. Wheelan to punt it. Price will have it bounce over his head inside the 10, and it hits off, and it's free. Who's got it? Oh, mistake you cannot make. What in the world was he doing? Packers say they have it. Vikings say, no, we do. Let's get the verdict.
All right. So I love how the announcers immediately make it sound like, oh, what a horrible mistake. The dude literally ran away from the punt and went up to do his job, right? Which is chip that guy so they can't down it inside the 5. Hopefully it'll roll into the end zone. No mention whatsoever, surprise, surprise, right? No mention whatsoever of Zane Anderson grabbing him and steering him into the ball too, right? That's the stuff that I hope one day Bill Belichick is an announcer, because he'll call that stuff out. Like, yeah, we teach that. That's a high football IQ play. It's kind of like Randall Cobb, that one you remember where he laid out of bounds and touched the ball, right? So
brilliant.
Yeah.
And again, big shouts out to Zane. Not only does he, do the high football IQ play, but he also recovers the damn ball too. You know, like this is just incredible. And you know, shout out to Coach Bisaccia, right? Another Rich Bisaccia transplant here that's making a difference. And Coach LaFleur was right. That I think was the play of the game. I mean, that is what really shifted the momentum and gave us the opportunity to just blow this thing open. And so good to see the special teams guys out there having a great game. I mean, probably one of the best performances all season from our special teams unit.
Right. And we're kind of bouncing around a little bit, just having a conversation with everybody here on Victory Monday. But when we do Chalk Talk, we do it in chronological order. But you're right, Tim, it was 10-6, right?
Yeah.
Like that play. All right, now you got the turnover differential. All right, cool. We're in the lead for the turnover. Punch it in here. How many times you guys see me in our private text yesterday going, take the 3 points here. Take the 3 for God's sakes. We got a chance to win this ball game early. Start to put the pressure on them. So it's huge for sure. And speaking of pressure, let's switch gears here and talk about the pass rush for a second. If you'll get me that Micah Parsons image again. These were all 5 of the Packers sacks yesterday. And I love how Packers social media team did this. They just put them all together. It's about 1:04 long. Let's listen to all of the TV calls from all 5 of the Packers sacks yesterday against. I love that image too, by the way. Is that not is that not beautiful right there?
Somebody check on JJ, man. You all right?
Somebody they posted that picture and drew the number 9 in the shape of his body. It was perfect. It was right at the ass cheek down to the head, just the perfect 9. It was great, man. So anyway, here we go. Here's all 5 of the Packers sacks as the pass rush came alive at Lambeau Field yesterday against the Vikings.
He's sacked back at the 47. Warren Brinson, the rookie from Georgia, with his first career sack. May have to split it with McDuffie. Second half begins with a throw. That was the intention, and Micah Parsons had other plans. 9 sacks this year from Micah Parsons. Third and a mile. They line him up at linebacker here, and he just barrels his way in there, and Devontae Wyatt has a sack of his own. Fake the toss. Parsons is coming, and he's got his second sack of this third quarter. This guy gets double teamed more than anybody and still gets to the quarterback more than anybody. Parsons getting a running start from linebacker. He's picked up this time. Gary able to get there. Couldn't get him down, though. Now McCarthy takes another sack. Devontae Wyatt, second of the game. He's doubled his season total, and the Pack has picked up 5 of them.
So that play there, you heard him mention Gary, obviously flushing him back in towards Devontae Wyatt, right? I thought Gary had a pretty good game. I'm excited to see the PFF grades to see if they're as close to what I remember seeing yesterday. But, man, that pass rush came alive, Tim. If I can take a quick glance here at the stats, I don't want to miss anybody. And by the way, hopefully that's a new thing that happens on this defense. When we get a sack, find the general. If Kobe's on the field, give him that salute. I love that. Absolutely love it, man. So sacks, Isaiah McDuffie with a half sack, Devontae Wyatt with 2 sacks, Micah Parsons with 2 sacks. We'll talk about him here in a second. Warren Brinson with a half sack. And, of course, quarterback hits. You had Rashawn Gary with 2 quarterback hits and that 1 pass deflection where he strips the hand and the ball gets intercepted. We'll talk about that shortly too. So just absolutely awesome. You had 10 quarterback hits and sacked the quarterback 5 times yesterday, Tim. Phenomenal, man.
And we talked about this, about, the addition of Micah Parsons, what that'll do to this defensive front. And we saw it all day long, right? Just affecting the way Minnesota was trying to set their protections. And, we saw a lot of those tandem sacks, or, you look at Devontae Wyatt's sacks, you can directly attribute it to, Micah and Rashawn and Colby Wooden and guys doing their job and playing as a unit, man. And you get games like this. I mean, we had defenders that were all over the stat sheet. It wasn't just one guy that was making plays for us. I mean, these guys are feeding off each other, playing for each other and with each other. And these are the type of defensive performances you need to see if you want to win a Super Bowl. And I feel like we've got the caliber of defense that we need to get there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's no doubt about that. This is a championship level defense. Can the offense put enough consistency together with the amount of injuries they got? That's going to be the big question, right?
Yep.
If they can, and again, you don't have to go out there and score 40 points a game, but I'll tell you what you got to do.
We could have scored 7 points yesterday and won that game.
Exactly. What you got to do is be able to establish that run enough that if you get a lead, you can start to lean on them a little bit, and then the play action comes alive. And when your quarterback is fully healthy, which we know Jay Love isn't right now, that's when things can really click, really, really click. So Michael in the chat says total domination on both lines of scrimmage, winning football every time. Amen. Trenches, 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 right? And we talked about that after the Eagles matchup in the playoffs last year. We lost immediately following the game in the postgame show. It was, man, we got to get better up front. They bullied us up front. Got to get better up front. That's exactly what Goody did. He went out and he spent a second-round pick on Anthony Belton. We'll talk about that on the backside of the show.
Yep.
Finally seen him get a little bit of playing time. It's really exciting to see. You went and got Aaron Banks, whether it ends up being a good signing or not. That's Goody taking a swing in free agency. We gotta make something happen there, right? All those things, they come into play. Hell, Warren Brinson, I know it's a later round pick, but that's another guy that, I know many Packer fans were very, very excited when they drafted him. You went and got Baron Sorrell.
Another guy. Yep.
Me and Tim, we were sitting there with the crew in Lambeau Field in the bleachers watching them make that pick live and him walking across the stage outside of the stadium with the draft be there in Green Bay. There was multiple picks. You always got to be looking for guys in the trenches, whether it's on the edge, at the 3-tech, or like I said, on the offensive side of the ball as well. That's why the Jordan Morgan pick, if it ends up being a great pick and he's the franchise left tackle once they do move him there, if they do, great. If not, you still got to take swings there. And you're gonna miss on draft. I was talking to a guy who does a 49ers podcast, and we've done some other work together. Talking to him, and he put a tweet out the other day, and their fan base is raking their organization over the coals for missing on this pick and that pick and this pick and that pick. And I hit him up and was like, bro, that ain't just your fan base. Every fan base is like that. They expect you to hit on 100% of the picks, and we know it doesn't happen that way. The goal is miss on fewer than everybody else is essentially the name of the game, right? So, but completely agree, Michael. Total domination, man, for sure. Holmes MD1 says we haven't seen Oliver yet. Yes, great point.
Great point. Right? Yep, great point.
Yeah, and he was one of the people that one of the guys I was most excited about. Tim coming out of college, his tape was really interesting, man.
You talk about a versatile defender. Play multiple spots out there for you.
And he looks like he would just dominate on special teams, just how he's built, right? I could see him being one of those guys that we look up, and next year it's like he's leading the special teams in tackles. But let's shift gears here real quick. Well, not really shift too far away. We're talking pass rush anyway. Let's talk about our boy Micah Parsons up to this point. PFF put this tweet out this morning. The Packers defense versus Minnesota, 6 points allowed, 5 sacks, 3 takeaways, and the passer rating allowed was 34.2. And we know Micah Parsons played a huge role in that, right? And again, you see him getting double and triple teamed. All of a sudden, Rashawn Gary forces an interception. All of a sudden, Devontae Wyatt gets 2 sacks. You got Warren Brinson and McDuffie splitting a sack. It really has unlocked this defense. To me, Tim, Micah yesterday looked healthy for the first time in a long time. And I'm not saying he's been injured this whole time. It just from time to time you see him get a little nicked, a little banged up, and it's like, okay, he's still effective. They're still double and triple teaming him. You're literally getting a +1 or a +2 hat count when he's on the field. But yesterday, damn, he looked like he was shot out of a cannon, man. And we talked about in the pregame too, man. They had a good offensive line. They had their starting 5 was out there, right? Christian Darrisaw is a good left tackle. Right. And I'm trying to think of who the guys at O'Neal on the right side, whoever it was. I mean, they're grading out a pretty darn good offensive line. Kelly was back at center. Kelly, I think last year graded out in the 70s or 80s. So this was a good offensive line. Now the quarterback, that's a different story. And nonetheless, though, man, good defense still take advantage of bad quarterback plays for sure.
Absolutely. And I think you're right about Micah. We talked about him not really getting any training camp or preseason action. I think he's finally at the point where he's 100%, 100% game speed, ready to go into the playoffs, man, and help us win a Lombardi, dude. This is going to be a hell of a ride. And you can just see the overwhelming impact that he has, not just schematically or, from a defensive point schematically, but just as a locker room guy, as a leader, as a team guy. It's just really cool to see this defense with him out there. And Rashawn Gary as well, right? We always talked about that tandem. We wanted this deal only if we kept Rashawn, and we're seeing what that looks like right now. We really are.
Yeah, No doubt about it. Wendell Ferreira, just give him a shout out here real quick. He tweeted out Micah Parsons, who has 10 sacks this season, joins Pro Football Hall of Famer Reggie White as the only player since 1982. Guys, that's the year I was born. Okay. So Micah Parsons and Reggie White, since this guy has been on this earth, are the only two players with an individual sack came. And since the individual sack came an official statistic with at least 10 sacks in each of their first 5 seasons. Think about that. It's just him and Reggie. And listen, we said when people were saying this is going to be our Reggie White, it's going to be our Reggie White, I was like, whoa, listen, guys. Micah Parsons is not Reggie White. Reggie White was not just a speed rushing defender, right? Reggie White, he could beat you with a little bit of speed. He had blunt force trauma power, right? And he could play the run just as good, if not better, than the pass rush. He was a team leader. He was an anchor for, he could play nose. He could play 3. He could play 9. He could play all over that line, and he was effective everywhere he went. Not effective, dominant everywhere he went. So Micah Parsons is a different player. He's a speed rusher. That's what he is. He can play with a little bit of power too, but he's a speed rusher. The fact, though, Tim, that these numbers, that's the only 2 players, the chances of Micah being a first ballot Hall of Famer and having a similar, if not same effect as Reggie White had on the 90s Packers defense, I think is extremely high, dude. I do.
Oh, yeah.
Again, he's not Reggie White. I want to be very clear there. But this is really impressive, man. The only 2 players since 1982 when the sack became a stat where they've recorded 10 sacks in each of their first 5 seasons. That's phenomenal, man.
Yeah. I think the comparison is, you look at it from this level, right? This is a crazy stat when you think about it. So he certainly belongs in the company of Reggie White. He's earned it. And like you said, different players, different type of players. However, I do think it's fair to say that I think you're right, Clayton. I think, when you think of the impact of, signing Reggie White as the first free agent and him coming to Green Bay and what he did for this defense, I think Micah's impact is going to be very similar. Picking him up with, Goody fleecing Jerry Jones out of Micah Parsons. We can see the changes almost immediately. And then now we're well into this season making a playoff push, and it continues to get better. And, Micah does have some attributes to his game that are similar to Reggie when you think about the versatility factor. You talk about Reggie being able to play multiple spots on the line. You look at Micah, we talk about those cheetah packages and the Joker look and the way that he's able to, switch sides of the formation or possibly go to the middle. We saw it yesterday. We saw an incredible, I think it was A-gap right up the middle, Micah Parsons blowing up that line. So there is a versatility factor, but I would agree. I mean, these are 2 different players. But I think we're going to be the comparisons are going to come the more and more games that he plays as a Packer in this defense, and we see them continue to dominate out there.
Yeah, definitely. So that's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2, where we're going to pick up with debunking some of the Rashawn Gary slander and some of the snap count hit pieces that went out last week. We'll talk about that. We'll also pick up with Emmanuel Wilson, talk about his great performance, Jordan Love, and the offensive line snaps as well with Anthony Belton getting his opportunity to shine. So we'll see you over there for hour 2. We appreciate y'all.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome into hour 2. Let's get into it. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'll probably get interrupted here in a second. Mandy's getting ready to leave. So if you guys bear with trying to think of the right way to say this. I about said unprofessionalism. We know that's not the word, but close enough. So we'll have to pause here for just a second. So let's talk about this. I want to hit this comment here, Tim. So Turk McGirt says, Gary forced turnovers each of the last 3 weeks. Radio morons like blank and blank. I think everybody knows who he's talking about right there. Okay. There's people that still continue to parrot this line that Gary is somehow a bad football player. We've shown it for the last however many years, man. Leads the team in run stops. Led it last year. He was ranked 80th overall by his peers amongst all other NFL. Whose opinion do you value more? And it's funny how they never mention that either. Let me just get off the screen there. They never mention that either, that it's like, okay, we can't mention that the people that line up against Rashawn Gary think he's the 80th best player in the league. He's a top 100 player, right? So let's don't mention that. Let's try to paint this negative picture that Rashawn Gary is bad at football. It has nothing to do with whether Rashawn Gary is going to be a Green Bay Packer long term or not. Contract is what it is. That's going to kind of come to a head next year, and you got to make a decision. He's got to make a decision. Do I want to stay in Green Bay? Packers got to make a decision. Do we just cut him outright, or we try to negotiate something, give some guaranteed money, and keep him here? All that's going to be something that has to be a conversation that has to be had, right? But like Turt says here, Gabe said Micah was taking a shot at Rashawn when Micah said 10 sack was the standard. That every week, no matter how positive the storyline is in Green Bay, it will always get painted towards, okay, here, let me give you an example. And this is kind of the topic we're going to talk about. It goes hand in hand with what we're talking about right here. The snap count. Last week, the media immediately started going to, Rashawn Gary, he had, 30-some snaps or whatever, right? Now, we pointed out, if you go back the last 3 games, he's in the same range he's always in, right? Now, when you see that, and this is me 3 games ago, I was talking about, listen, Rashawn Gary, there's a conversation that has to be had in the offseason, right? It's going to come down to dollars and cents. It's a business. But when we turned on the tape against the Giants, we noticed, that's what they're doing with Enigbare. They're continuing what Jeff Hafley started last year with the 55 drop. What I mean by that is a fire zone blitz. They'll have 55 lined up either in the cheetah spot, which is playing 3 tech and a 3 pass rush, 1 defensive tackle set, or he'll just be playing a 4-eye or a 3 tech, or he'll even be playing a wide 9. They'll blitz the corner off that end, or they'll play him on a wide 9 opposite and drop him into coverage. It's called a fire zone blitz. You're basically you're bringing pressure one spot, and where you're showing a pass rusher on the other, you're dropping them out. I'll tell you who else did that yesterday. They were doing that with T.J. Watt in Pittsburgh. Seen it several times on the tape there as well, watching that game against Chicago. So the point is, we went 55 drop heavy against Jameis Winston and the Giants, and that's why you've seen that. That's why you've seen Enigbare's snaps get inflated a little bit last week against the Giants. You could tell that was a part of the game plan. So immediately they start writing these hit pieces on Rashawn Gary that all of a sudden Rashawn Gary, Enigbare's getting his snaps. Now, they ask LaFleur, guys, listen, LaFleur is not going to tell you his game plan. I'm still, it's mind-boggling to me how many people in the sports media, they either think everything they're telling you is by the book, 100% true, or nothing they're telling you is true. It's always somewhere in the middle. Of course, the coach will give you information that's true, but also schematically, Tim, they're not going to tell you what their game plan is. They want the other team to find that out. Let me give you an example. So we uncovered, these knuckleheads, these bunch of morons just watching the tape uncovered, that was the game plan last week, was let's get Enigbare some snaps. They'll count him as a defensive lineman. We drop him into coverage. We fire a bull off the corner. We can try to force Jameis Winston into throwing into coverage, which he did multiple times. Yeah. So you see that and go, bang, that was the game plan. Now they ask LaFleur about the snap count. Well, he's never been a snap count guy. That's his answer. Rashawn Gary's getting passed up by Enigbare on the depth chart. That was the story all week long. The only way the truth would have been told is if Matt LaFleur would have said, no, actually, we game plan to have Enigbare drop into coverage on fire zone blitzes. That's something he does well. A coach is not going to say that because guess what? The Vikings hear that in the press conference. They go, hey, we need to key in on 55. When he's on the field, he may be dropping into coverage. Let's take advantage of that. You understand what I'm saying? They should already know it anyway if they're watching a 4-game saturation plus the last 2 head-to-head, which if you're not doing that as a coaching staff, that's coaching malpractice, period, case closed. Right. But that's why Matt LaFleur just made a very blanket comment of never been a snap count guy. So it goes hand in hand with what Turt's saying here. And now they're trying to paint it like Micah's taking a shot at Rashawn Gary.
Complete trash. That's trash journalism. That's not journalism. That's tabloid TMZ worthy crap. Yeah. There's nobody in that locker room taking shots at each other with comments. It's ridiculous. And
they refer to Rashawn Gary as G, OG, Big G, right? Like he's like the backbone of that defense. He's like one of the emotional leaders of that defense. He's one of the longest tenured players on that defense. The coaches absolutely love Rashawn Gary, right?
Yep. And so do his teammates.
And again, Tim, it wasn't even about, let me get clickbait here. It's those same knuckleheads that ain't got two brain cells to rub together, that they want to paint this picture of, well, damn, I already said Rashawn Gary was bad. We got to find another angle to prove that Micah Parsons agrees with it. It's just, and you know what?
Weird
man?
energy, man.
It's very weird energy. It's very, I don't even know the right way to describe it, to be honest with you. But to point out here, the tweet I put out today, as we said all week after watching the defensive coaching tape, the defensive coaching tape, Enigbari's snap against the Giants were scheme related, not Rashawn Gary related. Hafley ran 55 drop on fire zone blitzes to confuse Winston. This week, Rashawn Gary more than doubled JJ snaps. So now all of a sudden, Rashawn Gary gets 32 snaps. Kingsley Enigbari only gets 15 snaps, right? All of a sudden now Kingsley Enigbari's bad at football and Rashawn Gary's great? You understand what I'm saying? Now, they won't mention this. This won't get mentioned. And again, 32 snaps to Micah Parsons' 40. Micah Parsons has always played really 90% of the snaps in Dallas. It's kind of like Max Crosby. When you're paying a guy that much money, you got to get your money out of him too, right? Rashawn Gary has always been like a 60% snap guy is what he's been. Now, last week, was it lower? Probably. I don't delve into the snap counts too much. We're going to talk about it on the backside of the show. But the point is, it comes down to game plan. It comes down to game flow. It comes down to scheme that week. And what does that team do well? How do you want to attack them? What Matt LaFleur was saying in his answer in the presser was real simple. Guys, it's just like when they were talking about, shouldn't you have more than 2 defensive linemen against the run? They said that last year. He's like, but Matt LaFleur, he said, y'all are exposing yourself. You know that, right?
So tell me you don't watch ball without telling me you don't watch ball.
You do know our outside linebackers in a 34 defense are actually defensive ends. And he said it as nice as possible. Boy, they got their ass chapped when Matt LaFleur said that. But hopefully the light bulb comes on like, okay, just at some point you got to step back and go, maybe I don't know as much as I think I do. I have to do it all the time. I'm still learning every single day. When I dive into the tape this week, there'll be multiple things I learned that I didn't know that I'll go, boy, 6 weeks ago I said this and I look like a moron now. Just acknowledge it. Acknowledge that you don't have all the answers and stop acting like you do. And you damn sure should stop trying to tear individuals down along the way. That's what gets me the most, man.
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
Again, and the fact that there's so many people that just parrot that line all the time, that's what's embarrassing to me. And again, it kind of goes with the embarrassing part of the fan base as well. Tim, I'm going to step away. I want to get your take on all that. Hit these snap counts here real quick, and anything you want to hit in the chat, let me tell her bye. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. Yeah, absolutely. Talking about snap counts, that's a kind of a varying subject depending on how you look at the game. But I think it's a testament to what Hafley and the boys are trying to do in this defense. Plus, you look at LVN and you look at Barron Sorrell, being a younger player, LVN dealing with the injury. You're going to see fluctuations in snap counts week to week based on who your personnel is. And I think it's a great point that Clayton made there, talking about week to week, Enigbari getting 15 snaps this week as compared to last week. It's based on your scheme. It's based on what your game plan is for that day, the personnel you have available. Again, I think a lot of us as fans, and it's not a fault or anything, but we tend to look at seasons as one big movie instead of 17 different little movies like a coach does. And that's why you're going to see fluctuation in snap counts. And I'm willing to bet we're going to see plenty of snaps for Rashawn Gary on Thursday against the Detroit Lions, right, Clay?
Yeah, absolutely. Andy Watkins in the chat. It's the media's job to hire knuckleheads to adhere to the low IQ fan. You don't believe me. I've got ESPN on the background right here, and I look around and go, idiot, 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 idiot. Like every take they've got, and I don't think they're that. These are former players. Like I know you know what you're talking about. Why did you just say that stupid comment? Because they get together in their production meeting and go, okay, here's a topic. You're going to side with this. You're going to side with that. Everything's prepared. Everything's planned, right? That's why they go that route, I think. So I think it's a great comment there, though, for sure, man. Turk McGirt said, Homer's just crotchety old man funny. I love Homer. Again, Homer is the type of sports talk I grew up on. Homer's as bad as anyone with just throwing out a random stat, and then the next week he turns on it completely. But we need those old crusty guys that are still in sports talk. You see me smiling every time I talk about Homer because it just reminds me of 2001, listening to the actual radio in my car, right? And local sports talk, Fox Sports Radio or something. And he's like those guys, man. But nonetheless, with the snap count, another thing too here, in the snap count article, we put one up on Patreon with all the snap counts. I had AI comb through the internet. I believe we got it accurate. You guys can call them out if there's anything that you see inaccurate. And you can find it over at patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Let me give you another example here. Remember early in the season, Tim, we weren't seeing Warren Brinson at all. Wasn't seeing him at all, right? And we were seeing Nazir Stackhouse every game. Well, this game, Nazir Stackhouse only had 3 snaps. Warren Brinson had 21. The casual person will go, oh, man, Nazir Stackhouse is horrible now. Evidently, Warren Brinson got 21 snaps to his 3. Or it could be that you knew game plan-wise, hat count-wise, we're going to take away the run, and we want someone who's more effective at pass rushing, i.e. schematics, pass rushing in Brinson as opposed to Nazir Stackhouse, who's a run stuffer, because you knew you wanted to get after the young quarterback's ass in J.J. McCarthy, right? So, again, it doesn't mean that Nazir Stackhouse is all of a sudden bad football. Carl Brooks, he may have been banged up too. I don't know. Only 4 snaps, Tim. Do you think this coaching staff thinks that Carl Brooks is horrible? No. Carl Brooks is typically your one tech, right? He'll play one tech in this defense. He did it last year as well from time to time when our boy Kenny Clark was not on the field, right? It doesn't mean they think Carl Brooks is horrible at football all of a sudden. It means they liked this week's game plan being led by Devontae Wyatt, 34 snaps, by the way, got 2 sacks, right? And he's our best pass rusher. Kobe Wooden, 24 snaps, who's become our new nose, right? Throw him in at the one
general.
That's right. And then, of course, Warren Brinson, they wanted to implement him this week because of his pass rushing ability that you've seen all over the tape when they drafted him here. You know, 'cause again, Warren Brinson was a draft pick, right? Nazir Stackhouse was an undrafted free agent, yet Nazir Stackhouse was getting a lot more snaps early in the season. There's constant adjustment. There's constant flow when it comes to the game plan in that regard. I just wanted to hit that because that cracked me up that they tried to paint that picture. Now, people hear this and they go, oh, does that mean they would approach us and go, well, Kingsley Enagbare must have took a step back. He only had 15 snaps. No, Kingsley Enagbare was asked to do something different this week. Tim, give me that screenshot of Micah Parsons. I want to play this 4th down stop here by our boy Kingsley Enagbare. So even with the minimal snaps there, he still had his presence felt in the run game on this particular snap. This is the 4th down play, I believe. Guys, 3rd and 1, we stuffed them. This is 4th and 1, the very next play as they tried to get the first down on the 4th and 1 on looks like roughly our 16-yard line, our 17-yard line, something like that. Here we go.
Mason not going to get there. Enagbare stops him on 4th down.
Now, again, the people that want to paint that picture, right, that all of a sudden Enagbare is better than Rashawn Gary would be the same people that would try to make it sound like Kingsley Enagbare is a bad football player. And here you had a goal line essentially a goal line situation, a 4th and 1 situation where you get your goal line package in there, and Enagbare makes the play, right? Who cares who's making the play as long as the team is working together collectively to get the job done?
Well, people who want to twist facts and feelings to fit a narrative, they care. They're the ones upset after a dub, after you spank a divisional opponent like a bad child at home and you're upset on a victory Monday. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
It's just this mental gymnastics of going back and forth. Rashawn Gary's a bad football player. Now all of a sudden we won't talk about it because he was effective. Okay, now this guy passed him up in snap count. Now we got to paint him as a bad football player again, right? This is a huge play here from yesterday. This is Rashawn Gary raking the arm of McCarthy, forcing the interception to McDuffie. Again, we always talk about this pressure pick, coverage sack. I apologize for the dogs. They're mad. Mandy's leaving. But pressure pick, coverage sack. Here we go. This is Rashawn Gary making a play, and McDuffie finishing off with a great interception here of J.J. McCarthy.
History, double-digit sacks, 5 straight seasons to start his career. Rashawn Gary gets there this time and forces an interception. Gary got his hand on it, and Isaiah McDuffie picked it off.
So one of the 3 interceptions or turnovers on the day, right? We win the turnover differential 3-0. You only win that 2-0 without Rashawn Gary and that strip it should have been called a sack. It shouldn't have. The ball went forward. You guys get the picture. The box score, this is why you shouldn't dwell on the box scores too much. The box score won't show that other than just a pass defended or a pass deflection for Rashawn Gary, right? In all honesty, it could have been a strip sack. He did everything to get the strip sack. This is better than just a sack, by the way. This is what we talk about. Sometimes pressures are better than sacks, because if he sacks him here, they end up punting the ball away, or they end up living to play another down, as opposed to us getting the football with McDuffie making a great play on the ball. So those things are just as important, Tim. Those are the stuff that, again, you get caught up in the box score, you can really get a false outlook of what actually happened in the game.
It's so true. I mean, that was Rashawn just influencing the hell out of that play. And then McDuffie doing a great job keeping his work in front of him. And lo and behold, that ball just ended up in his belly. And he made a great play there. That's, this defense working as a unit, man. That's what these guys are getting paid to do, man. Nobody's getting paid to be an individual out there. It's a team game for a reason.
Absolutely. Gregory in the chat says, felt that was a forced fumble in air, quote, interception. It could have went either way. I could see that. I'm kind of the opinion that when the ball somehow goes forward, their arm had to have been going forward, unless a defender actually hits them from behind and it flies forward, But nonetheless, great play, right? Still a +2 play for Rashawn Gary. For sure. So really, really excited about what the defense has done, though. And Rashawn Gary, again, I want to be very clear here. I don't think Rashawn Gary is getting better. I think you'll probably see a steady decline. But the fact that there's some that think, okay, you can't use him on this defense moving forward, it's got to be the right price. I got you. But his run defense has been phenomenal. Again, I pointed it out. He had 70 going into this week. He had 70 less snaps on the year than Micah Parsons, and he had 3 more run stops than Micah Parsons. That doesn't mean Micah Parsons is a bad run defender. I think Micah Parsons is a very good run defender. He's an elite pass rusher, a very good run defender. That's how I see Micah Parsons. Rashawn Gary, damn near elite run defender, and I think he's a good pass rusher. Maybe not very good, but a good pass rusher. You need that if you're going to stop the run. Again, you can
balanced attack, right?
Yeah. And you can scream, get rid of Gary. You can do that. Yeah, let's get rid of Gary. Don't bitch and moan next year when the run defense takes a dip if you don't have Rashawn Gary. And I promise you this, mark my words, if someone were to do that, Tim, if the people that are screaming Rashawn Gary's not worth money, he's not worth the money, the second Rashawn Gary's gone and your run defense goes from 3rd best in the league to, let's say it dips to 12th or something, right? Let's say it takes a dramatic turn. Those same people that were screaming that would then move their focus to Micah and go, Jerry told us Micah was a bad run defender. See, that's exactly how they would approach that. And again, it goes back to that whole shock jock approach to calling the games and covering the games and just trying to create a little bit of outrage. And it's funny when it backfires on them, because like I said, one of them was on Twitter yesterday complaining because the fans were coming at him. Bub, you did that. You created that whole environment. You created that whole, this player's playing bad, that player's playing bad. And then when the crowd turns on you all of a sudden, it ain't so fun, is it?
You can't dish it out, but you can't take it, right?
As we used to say, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, right? Funny how that works. So let's shift gears, man. Let's move on to the offensive side of the ball. This shot right here, one of my favorite of the day. I said, good Lord, I'd like to report a crime. Look at E. Wilson here, man. Is that not unbelievable? Like, seriously. That poor guy, that guy's got a family down there, Tim. This guy right here, got a family at home. So Emmanuel Wilson went off. We're not overly surprised, obviously. We've been talking about Emmanuel Wilson for the last couple of years. I remember us talking in the preseason, we might have the best backup running back in the league, right? Give me that shot, Tim, if you don't care. Put that back up for me. Let's play a couple of tutters. We'll play them back-to-back here. This was Emmanuel Wilson punching it in to give the Packers the first lead of the game for the Packers, 7-3. I think this was in the first quarter. This is Emmanuel Wilson from about the 2-yard line. And again, he runs with power. He's got versatility. I love his ability to bounce side to side just to make a slight move in the hole, make a guy miss, and then get north and south quick. Phenomenal job by Emmanuel Wilson. Here was his first touchdown on a 1st-and-goal run.
Straight ahead, got hit at the line, kept on churning and got in. Green Bay in the end zone on their first drive of the day.
And they said it perfect there, Tim. He got hit right there in the hole and just powered through the run. Here was the second touchdown of the day. This one came a little later in the game. I think this was in the third quarter, 10:58. I counted it as middle eight. And I said in the tweet, Emmanuel Wilson extends the Packers lead 17-6. Turnover differential, Green Bay 1-0. Middle eight, Green Bay 7-0. We counted if it's within 2 seconds. Typically, if it's under a minute, I'll try to let you guys know. Technically outside of the middle eight, but in this case, it's a 10:58 mark. So right there outside of the middle eight, but still counts in my opinion. Here we go. This was Emmanuel Wilson's second touchdown of the day.
Wilson again reaches for the goal line. Packers make him pay.
And I know those are short down yardage plays there, Tim, with both touchdown runs from Emmanuel Wilson. But the first one, he got hit at the line of scrimmage. Looked like the dude hit a wall. To me, Emmanuel Wilson looks thicker this year. He runs with power, but he also runs with great agility, being able to bounce, that one cut and go type guy. To me, he is. And he is fit for this Matt LaFleur offense. He can run outside zone if you need to, get out laterally, cut back across the grain, get the defense flowing to the sideline, but also he runs with power too, man. Phenomenal job.
Yeah, and I love him in the post game too. You know, we saw him getting the game ball, and he said, "Appreciate the opportunity. Let's go back to work." I love the attitude, right?
Yes.
And that type of attitude is contagious, and you can't tell me he's not getting some of that from Josh Jacobs, who we all know is that type of leader. I don't know if anybody outworks Josh Jacobs in that running back room, but certainly Emmanuel Wilson is up there, and you could see it in his game, man. Just a good dude, and first start, I believe, since his college days, and he gets over the century mark, couple of tutters, was effective in the short passing game. Just a great. This is what we talk about next man up. You know, we know Josh needed that extra week to get ready here for Thursday against the Lions, and to really just not miss a beat in the run game. With your RB2 is it's priceless, man. So salute to Emmanuel Wilson, man. Hell of a performance.
Let's go to the chat here. Cheesehead Murph in the house says EW23 backstory is amazingly inspirational. It really is, man. Hearing how he thought his career was over because he made it. What was he made 3 days in camp in Denver and they cut him.
Yep.
And he said he called his mom and was like, "Mom, it's probably over." Like, I didn't even make it 3 days. Packers came calling, and he's taking advantage of his opportunity. Man, I think he fits in Green Bay perfectly. I know you helped him find his dog there one day, right?
Yeah,
and,
shout out to Mark.
And is he not, Emmanuel, is he not like just a down-to-earth dude, man?
Oh, yeah. Super cool guy, man. One of the more accessible dudes as well. Always takes time. He'll stop and talk to a fan, you know, that kind of thing. And he fits the Packer mold, right? Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Jen Wright in the chat said all guys who had an opportunity to capitalize big time. It's like what you said earlier, right? It's like depth. That's what we got here. I love what Camden says here in the chat. He says Toyota-thon, baby. That's right. And that's what's funny is we didn't even need the Toyota-thon magic yesterday. We just leaned on the run all day. You know,
that's right.
So, got that in the back pocket. So I want to give a shout out here. I want to show this on the screen. Then if you'll get the Emmanuel Wilson thing ready for me, Tim, I want to just show this to give credit. The audio is from NBC 26, Kelly Hallinan. I hope I'm saying that right. Hallinan, maybe. Packers running back Emmanuel Wilson made his first start since college at running back 1 today with Josh Jacobs out with a knee injury. 28 carries, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. This was her interview with him afterwards. Also want to mention he also had 2 catches for like 18 yards. I think he finished somewhere around 125 all-purpose yards and 2 tutters. So he did it in all facets of the game. So shout out to Kelly. Y'all go give her a follow at Kelly, HALS. Here's her interview with Josh Jacobs, with Emmanuel Wilson immediately following the game.
Wilson, Emmanuel, 28 carries, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns for you today. How would you describe your career night?
Wonderful. From far as for myself, just went out there and tried to make plays and continue to get the run game going.
When you found out that Josh wouldn't be playing today and you would be running back 1 for the first time since college, what were you feeling entering today?
Honestly, when Coach Summers just told me be ready to go and go out there and make plays for us, I had butterflies, a little nervous. I had to talk to Matt Orgzik, and he just told me it was another game, and it's just with a bigger title. And the title's just a name, so just go out.
We're building a team, not collecting talent. I talked to the long snapper, Matt Orgzik, and he helped settle me down. You've got a backup running back leaning on a long snapper to kind of, settle down a little bit, with your first start. I just think that's awesome.
But then be yourself.
When you punch in that first touchdown, did that calm the nerves a little bit? What was that feeling like?
What really calmed the nerves was I had a duo play and I ran over the safety. And after that, all my nerves went away. And then when I scored my first touchdown today, it was pretty cool. When I ran 51 over, I just kept my feet moving. He stopped his feet.
He had to give a shout out to the number. Yeah, I ran 51 over whoever the hell that is. Good luck.
He stopped his feet. I kept my feet moving. I love it.
So pretty cool.
How would you describe the performance from your offensive line today to really open things up for you?
Oh, it was wonderful. Big Banks, he always do a little bounce and put his head to mine and just say, let's go. And I've just been leaning on them ever since.
I know you guys have been looking for a complete football game today with Zane on special teams, with the defense flying around, getting to JJ McCarthy. How would you assess the team's performance as a whole?
I give it an A+. Little stuff we still got to work on, as far as little details and stuff like that. But overall, it was a good game.
I know it's a short week for you guys, 2 divisional games. Next up, Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. How do you carry this momentum into Ford Field?
Really just keep going and dialing in practice. It's a short week, so we take walkthrough series and be ready to go Thursday.
And I have to let you know you're the first running back this season to have over 100 yards.
We all lean on Josh, so once he come back, I'm already know he's gonna get his. So it's gonna be wonderful to see him get his.
Immediately shifted it back to somebody else, right?
I know he had a lot throughout his career, but we're gonna be excited.
Was he giving you any feedback or anything on the sidelines today or ahead of today's game?
Yeah, throughout the game, it was just one particular play where I caught it and then just went straight up. But if I would have stayed on track, it probably would have been an 80-yard touchdown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's okay. I also saw you got a game ball. What did that mean to you? What was the locker room like after this win?
They was excited for me because of my performance and stuff like that. It means a lot to me just because the team, trusts me and everything like that. So I feel good about it.
All right. Thank you so much, man. Congrats on the win.
Great job by Kelly, too. What an awesome interview there, man. Y'all make sure you go give her a follow right here, okay? Kelly Hollinan, if I'm saying that right. But yeah, I love too. He said he talked to Josh Jacobs on the sideline. Jacobs like, hey, man, you cut here. You'd had an 80-yard touchdown. There's always room for improvement. I love that dude. I'm so glad he's a backup running back. And I was going to pull up his contract. I forgot to, but talk for a second. I want to say he's still an exclusive rights free agent or something like that. I hope he is anyway.
I believe we do. I think we have exclusive rights to him, but you might want to double check that. Jen Wright in the chat hits it on the head. So reserved, no ego, all hard work. Great point, Jen. That's exactly the type of dude he is. And I mean, you can see it there in that interview too. Like you said, Clayton, right away, deflecting the praise and putting the light back on Josh Jacobs. And, you got to love that attitude, right? Like you can tell Emmanuel Wilson embraced that role. He knew that yesterday was the day for him to step up. And if they ask him to step back into that number 2 role on Thursday against Detroit, he's going to approach that with the same attitude and the same work ethic. And he's going to go out there and make plays and try and help us win a ball game. And you got to love it, man. No ego. It's, we're building a team, not collecting talent for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. So he is a restricted free agent, Tim.
Okay.
So obviously, allowing players with an accrued 3 seasons to negotiate with other teams, but their original team can retain them by making a tender offer. So essentially, you can put how much money you think he's worth on him, right? Let's say it's a 3rd-round tender, and that equals so much money. You guys can go look up that chart, right? And if a team comes in and goes, okay, yeah, we'll match that. We'll actually give a little bit more. You get an opportunity to match it. If you don't match it, then they got to send you that 3rd-round pick. So I always tell people, Tim, if they're restricted free agents or exclusive rights free agents, if the Packers want them, they will have them.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's essentially the easiest way to look at it, because teams aren't going to go out and crazy overpay for a player who are a restricted free agent or exclusive rights free agent. It just doesn't happen very often. So Emmanuel Wilson, I think, will be back. And what's cool is the fact that he's even though it's restricted, he's still a free agent. He's going to get a pretty good pay increase. That's awesome.
Pay that man his money.
That's right, man. Because again, he's kind of built to stay healthy too.
Yeah.
Think of a time where he was banged up. Can you?
I thought a little bit last year, but he didn't miss a lot of time at all, if any. But yeah, availability is everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at Marshawn Lloyd, man. We were so excited about Marshawn Lloyd in this running back room. And if you can't stay on the field, what are we going to do? So that is an attribute to a player's game, their ability to stay out there and be available. So, and that's not a knock on Marshawn Lloyd. It's just one of those unfortunate things. It happens. I mean, we were just talking about Colin Oliver, another guy who basically lost his rookie season. Doesn't mean you're out. Emmanuel Wilson's a great example of that story. We talked about, how his career started in Denver and, how it started versus how it's going. I think it's going pretty well for Mr. Wilson right now.
Absolutely. We got Caldwell Corner in the house this Victory Monday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Love this too. Chester Marco in the chat. The biggest ability is availability, right? Yeah. Availability and accountability always trumps ability. You can be the most talented football player on the face of the earth. If you're not accountable and not available, it doesn't even matter, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Johnny Manziel. Boy, you talking about a guy who had a natural feel and talent for the game, but not accountable. That's a perfect example of not being accountable, right? Sad story there too, by the way, if you ever guys get a chance to dig into it. I think it's worth digging into, but just someone who pissed away an awesome opportunity and a guy that his teammates love too. That's another thing. Anyway, let's switch gears to Jordan Love a little bit. You see the stat line, think, oh, Jordan was terrible yesterday, right? That's if you're just a box score watcher, you would go, why didn't Jordan Love have a bigger game there? You play the game in front of you, right? You play the game that you're dealt. I was as pleased. I don't want to say more pleased with this game, Tim, but I was almost as pleased with this game with Jordan Love as I was last week, where he threw the game-winning touchdown on that late fourth quarter drive, right? And the reason being, you remember what I put in our text thread, Tim, about him throwing that ball away at one time?
Yep.
Like, that's growth.
Yep.
Third down, you're on their side of the field. Don't like what you got, rolling right. You know what? Throw that thing away and take the 3 points. That's a big growing moment for him, was it not, man?
Absolutely. 100%. And also the decision making too, when he is having to scramble or move a little bit, he looks a little bit more poised under duress in those situations, and being patient enough to give your guys a chance downfield to work open, because Jordan will let it go if it's there. And I think it is. It's a improvement to his game to know when it's not there, and to just throw the ball to the guy holding the boom mic on the sideline or something, and just make it safe.
Even with him taking that step forward too, I said this on the post game and we nailed it. I said this will be Jacob Morley's Jordan Love sicko throw of the week, and of course, I love that he always adds in the trademark there, by the way. So this is that throw we were talking about: immediate pressure, unblocked in the A gap. You're always taught as a blocking unit, if you have to choose between this defender coming unevaded or this defender, you always choose inside first, right? You let the free runner come from the outside. That's going to be on the quarterback. Hopefully everybody's on the same page. You'll hear a quarterback go, yeah, that's my guy. That's my guy, right? He's saying, I know he's unblocked. Let me handle him, right, is essentially. In this case, you get a guy through the A-gap. Look at this throw that Jordan Love makes. I'm going to go slow here. We're going to go half speed. So watch him drop back. Look at the immediate pressure. All right. Boom. Now, look, that's on Brooks. Brooks cannot kick all the way out there. You got to know if they're blitzing that A-gap, you've got to chip him right there, right? Because Belton's got his hands full out here. You got to get a hand on that guy, right? However, watch Jordan fade away like another Jordan from back in the day. Look at the placement of that ball, boys. Look how many defenders: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know what? I don't think it's a dangerous throw, Tim. If your receiver catches that ball, I mean, look at this. He's got that you took a play right there that should have been a negative play, missed assignment. This is what Jordan's been doing the last few weeks. So you look at the box score and you think he had a down game, but making this play and moving the sticks is freaking huge. Getting your team in and out of the right run place, handing it off with the opposite hand because your shoulder's banged up, or maybe it was because the thumb was bothering him. I don't know. There's been a little bit of debate there, but nonetheless, being that game manager in this situation to getting your team in a position where you come out with a 3-score win and you wasn't even at your best, you wasn't even healthy, but you're still making throws like that. Absolutely phenomenal, man. As Chester said, the play was enormous. It was huge, man.
Yeah, and then like you said, dealing with the pressure right in your face, obviously a missed opportunity for Chris Brooks here to chip, but I wonder if he was just trying to get to his he totally missed. You can see. I thought maybe he was running a leak or something, you know what I mean, to the flat. But so a missed assignment there. It happens. But Jordan taking the time to take the extra 2 or 3 steps in the drop, and just kind of fade, like you said, MJ baby, fade away, and drop that ball in the bucket, and then Tay Wicks going up and making just a great grab, for a guy that has caught in a lot of heat recently as a receiver. He didn't drop that one, right? That was a great throw, great catch. And yeah, you'd never think you would see a guy throwing a ball into an area with 5 defenders and go, that's a safe throw. But it's like, here it is. Proof is on the tape.
Phenomenal play, man. Again, it should have been. This is when you see the EPA numbers, and Jordan Love's EPA's numbers are already high, and Chicago Bears fans get so upset about it, like EPA isn't a real stat, blah, blah, blah. These are the type of things that he's doing that if you're just a box score dweller like Chicago Bears fans are, this won't show up. You'll look at it and go, oh, yeah, Caleb Williams outplayed him yesterday. But you don't see this stuff. And at the same time, you see Caleb Williams get sacked in the end zone. You look at that in the box score, and the box score dwellers will go, oh, man, the offensive line's letting Caleb down. They, gave up another sack. But the box score doesn't tell you he held the ball for 5.5 or 6 seconds and got sacked in his own end zone, stripped, and it got recovered for a touchdown. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's important. Watch the tape, advanced metrics, look at the box score too, take it all, put it in a pot, and come up with what actually happened in the game. But just a phenomenal play by Jordan there. And then back to Wendell Ferreira here on X, pointed this out. I'm glad he did. This was 8:29 this morning, so these are updated numbers. NFC North quarterbacks in EPA plus CPOE. All right, composite. So this is EPA and then completion percentage over expected, right? So again, that would be through the freaking roof on a play like that we just showed you, right? Composite. This is via RBSDM, 34 qualifying quarterbacks. So they took 34 quarterbacks that qualified in terms of, I guess, snaps or what have you, right? Jordan Love is number 3 in the league in EPA plus CPOE. Jared Goff is number 12. Carson Wentz is 18. Caleb Williams is 26. J.J. McCarthy is 34. So again, dead last for J.J. McCarthy. Caleb Williams, bottom half of the league in this regard. These are the things that's going to eventually catch up with the Chicago Bears. It's going to happen. Now, you still got to tip your cap because they're figuring out how to win football games. But again, you look at the box score yesterday, Tim, you think Jordan Love didn't have a good game. You continue to look at these advanced metrics and you go, nope, we are right on pace, man. He's playing damn good football.
Amen. I agree 100%. I mean, you want to look at the numbers, you want to look at the box score and stuff, but it should be after watching tape. It should be after trusting your eyes and watching football, right? Like you said, don't be a box score watcher. Don't be you can be a stat nerd, but watch some ball too, and watch a game more than once. Try that. You'd be amazed what you see every time you look at a play. You see something else.
There's been multiple times I've been like, I'm glad I watched it the third time through. I missed that. I've watched them 3 times through, put together chalk talk, and you were Emilio point out a mistake to me that I still made him diagnosing the play. It happens to everybody. Yep. So that's so spot on, Tim. So spot on. So again, I think Jordan Love is going to be just fine, man, for sure. I think he is. Chester in the chat. Bart Starr won 5 rings and he wasn't lighting up the box scores. Amen to that, man. And what's crazy too is he was there was a stat too at one point talking about how he was like top 3 or top 5 in the league in throwing on 4th downs. You wouldn't think of Bart Starr being like that, but that was the reality of the way he played the game. 4th and 1. I can't remember which teammate it was, Tim, but one of his teammates said, "Oh, 4th and 1, he's throwing the football here." What's Bart going to do? Because he called his own plays. What's Bart going to do? Oh, he's throwing. It's 4th and 1. He wanted
that. Like the infamous Ice Bowl sneak. I mean, he was the only player on the field who knew he was going to keep it, and that's probably why the play worked.
Yep, absolutely, man. So, when the game was on the line, boy, Bart Starr, you wanted the ball in his hands. There's no doubt about it, man. Another guy he was drafted at what round? It was something crazy, like 15th round or something like that. Draft pick. Just absolutely wild, man. All right, let's see. We got Camden McManus in the house says, "Thank you, everybody. That's the reason I became a Packers fan, because of Jair Alexander, because me and him went to the same high school, Rocky River Ravens, in Mint Hill, North Carolina." Absolutely awesome. It's cool to see people kind of got those connections there. Talking about Jair Alexander, I believe, because Jai being a North Carolina guy, for sure.
Hope Jai's doing well, man. Best wishes to Jair, man.
Absolutely. You know what we need from Jai? We need to get him back up here in his hopefully he didn't sell his house in Green Bay. He needs to move back into Green Bay, and we need him doing something Packers related if he's done with football, man. That dude is absolutely love that guy, man.
That would be awesome.
All right, we got some snap counts here we can hit, Tim, but we're over time. What we'll do is we'll carry that over into later on. I'll make a note here. We want to talk a little Anthony Belton and just snap counts in general. We'll hit that on tonight's show. And also, guys, I've seen people asking in the chat. I don't know if I marked it or not. I think I may have. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, here we go. Doug said, do we have PFF grades on CV and Haddon? I mean, Addison belongs on a milk carton. Jay Jettis was practically invisible. We'll have those PFF grades for you guys and gals on tonight's show. That's something we'll do as Victory Monday rolls on. We'll go live at 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live, and we'll break down the PFF grades. We'll also give you guys the specific snap counts and any other information that may come out of 1265. Guys, it's going to be a short turnaround. Yep. I've got to get this Chalk Talk put together. It's basically, Tim, it's going to be probably Chalk Talk tomorrow and then one day of previewing, and then it's game day. It's Thanksgiving, and we're going to be at a family member's house for Thanksgiving. So what I'm going to have to do there is I'm going to take the laptop. I got the mini NASA laptop that I spent way too much money on, and I'm going to be set up. Y'all going to love this.
Scared money don't make money.
I'm going to be set up in my nephew's bedroom, who is a huge Vikings fan. So the background will probably be all Vikings memorabilia on the wall. And we'll get to make fun of it a little bit as we go live here. Of course, if he watches this show, he's probably going to go, I'm not letting you in my bedroom. Ain't happening. So, now, I felt bad for him yesterday because it was like, it's still early, but man, I don't think J.J. McCarthy's that dude. Maybe they said the same thing about Sam Darnold. Ironically, they let Sam Darnold go, but Sam Darnold with the Jets, right? Horrible. Carolina, horrible. I think he went to San Fran for 1 year. Then he comes to Minnesota and he sparks. They should have kept him, Tim. And I hear some Viking fans say, "Oh, we didn't have the money. We paid Justin Jefferson. We did this. We did that." You've always got the money for a franchise quarterback if you think that's the guy. They didn't think he was the guy. They thought JJ was the guy, and that's just the Mr. Analytics up there, their general manager. That's a perfect example of him not understanding. Now, maybe he took KOC's word for it, and KOC was the one who made the decision that this is my dude. That's on KOC if that's the case, but it's sad for old Sammy. I don't think he got your QB yet there, buddy. And I'll never forget New Year's a couple years ago when we boat raced the Vikings, Tim. I was watching that game, and he set his phone down, and he said Jordan Love was just dicing him up off his back foot, zero blitz, hits Dontavion Wicks down the seam for a touchdown, or maybe it was Jaden Reed. But he set his phone down. And he said, it ain't fair. Like, y'all got another one. It ain't fair. Like, it's so hard to find a quarterback, and we got another one in J. Lowe's. Wild, man. So anything else you want to hit on, man, before we go?
No, Victory Monday. Go, Pack, go. Can't wait to break it down later. Get into these numbers. Like you said, PFF grades. Let's talk some O-line. Let's talk some Escalade Belton.
Yes,
who played pretty damn good last night. So happy for him.
We're going to call it Belton to Ass.
Belton to Ass.
BTA. So, all right. Listen, thanks, everybody. We had a bunch of people in here watching. I really, really appreciate y'all. And thank y'all for being that positive portion of the fan base, being level-headed. I want to give a shout-out to Dr. Crutch with the Super Chat, Michael with the Super Chat. Thank y'all so much for the kindness. We'll be back tonight, 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live. I may go live during the day. We'll see if any news breaks. But if not, we'll see you then. Everybody have a wonderful day. Make sure you tag a Vikings fan in a tweet today, man. Do the right thing, all right? We'll see y'all tonight.
Here we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.